along with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is George Salamis, President, CEO, and Director at Integra Resources. Thank you so much for being here.
Charlotte, thanks for having me again.
Of course, and we've got a lot of things to talk about today, but we have to start with Integra's big news, which is that the company announced plans to merge with Millennial Precious Metals. So can you catch us up on the deal?
Sure can, and so we announced it last week. So essentially, think of it as the consolidation that the industry needs and has been looking for such a long time. And you only have to come to a show like this to sort of, for it to become clear that there are far too many junior mining companies, far too many issuers, and there's only a limited amount of capital that can support us all. So in a sense, our investors have been asking us to start to think about banding together and consolidating, especially within specific jurisdictions. So the deal that we announced last week was an at-market merger with Millennial Precious Metals. And they have a great set of assets in Nevada. We're in Idaho developing the DeLamar project. And so if you put the two together, it's kind of a 1 + 1 = 4 or 5 or 6 to pick a number. But we're stronger together. As a company, we'll have 6 million ounces of total resources. For a junior mining company, that's a lot. It's going to be really unparalleled in the context of the Great Basin. And a pathway to production, which is perhaps 230 to 250,000 ounces a year. Also very impressive. So bigger, stronger, more market momentum, attracting a larger investor.
Yeah, it does sound very exciting. And in conjunction with that news, Integra and Millennial are raising $35 million with Wheaton Precious Metals as an investor.
That's correct.
So can you talk about the significance of bringing Wheaton on board?
Sure. Again, one of the things that we in the pre-development space struggle with is access to capital that's going to get you to the finish line. And there's a lot of money that needs to be spent between sort of PEA and final permitting. And so with Wheaton Precious there, investing up to 10% of the combined company, putting their money into the deal. Essentially what we're looking at is we have now a very solid major shareholder that's going to back us to get to the finish line on not just one project, but on 3 projects now. And that's key, to have that kind of bench strength who's going to support you along the way.
Right, and we should talk about that as well, kind of what the funds will be used for and the path forward after the merger is complete.
Sure, so it's pretty clear what we need to do this year. So we've got a resource estimate to put out on DeLamar, and we've been doing a lot of drilling, especially in these low-grade stockpiles at DeLamar. So we'll be getting those into a resource estimate mid-year, and then on the MPM side, they've got 2 projects that they're going to combine into one PEA study, their first economic study. We have a good idea what that's going to look at because we've done a lot of analysis from our side on it. I think it's going to look really good. So they've got that news to put out. Then they'll be initiating some drilling through the summer on some pretty obvious targets on their end. And then back to DeLamar, we're putting out the mining plan of operations, which is the major document with respect to permitting going forward that we're submitting to the feds and to the state in the U.S.
All right, and of course we know that the properties are in Idaho and Nevada. It's no secret that these are mining-friendly jurisdictions. I think most people will be familiar with that. But I just wanted to raise that with you and see if there's anything that you want to add on those states as places to operate.
Yeah, and essentially that's the target. That's where we're staying, right? So the view is, with this merger, get a currency and start maybe looking at acquiring other assets. I mean, there's a large pool of what I'm going to call unloved pre-development assets in the Great Basin, specifically Idaho and Nevada, and maybe looking at adding some more resources along the way through further transactions, tuck-ins as we call them. We got to get this first deal out of the way first, and maybe grow bigger through just acquisition.
Right, and once this does go through, you will become executive chairman of the company, while Jason Kosek from Millennial takes over as president and CEO. So I thought it's exciting to see somebody younger take the helm at a company, and I wondered if you could talk about the importance of encouraging the younger generation in mining.
Yeah, Charlotte, that's a great question. And again, look around this show, right? I mean, there's a lot of old white males at this show. And there are not a lot of young people coming into our business still. It's improved, things have improved. So this is kind of, consider it my one-person bid to try and bring some younger talent. Jason's a very young, very hungry, very motivated, energetic CEO. And basically, we'll have this relationship. Exec chairman is what I'll be doing. President CEO is what he's going to be doing. There's going to be a lot of mentorship aspects to it, similar to, in fact, what we had at Integra Gold, the predecessor company with myself and Steve DeJong. And it's something I enjoy doing, mentoring. And that's essentially the playbook for what Integra Resources is going to be.
That's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to put the deal into the context of what's going on in the mining industry. So you mentioned tons of juniors down on the floor here at PDAC. We need to see consolidation. We have seen some other deals in the gold space happening in 2023. So do you see that continuing, picking up pace as we move forward into the year?
I would hope so, Charlotte. I don't think a lot of these junior mining companies have a choice, really, because the message that they're getting from their own institutional shareholders largely is, look, these institutional shareholders only have a limited pool of capital. They have to keep 20 or 30 or 40 of their holdings and their respective mouths fed to get them to the finish line. And so I think the message is going to be clear. Hopefully we've started something, right? Hopefully we've started a trend. I think you're going to see more consolidation coming, no question.
And does the fact that these deals are happening tell us something about what point we're at in the current gold cycle?
Yeah, that's another great point. Typically this type of consolidation happens right at the bottom. Right, and so there's that feeling, and I know we've been saying it for a while, but there's that feeling that things are bottoming out here. When you're seeing ridiculous asset valuations on the low end, such as we're seeing now, it's the best time to start consolidating. And again, typically these are the things that happen at low end of the cycle.
Right, and just briefly, let's get your thoughts on gold moving forward into 2023, factors that you may be watching.
Yeah, so my prediction is sort of $2,000 an ounce plus for the balance of 2023 into the second half of the year. I think we're going to have a strong wind at our backs from the gold, precious metals, silver as well perspective. I think all the forces are at play that kind of speak to that right now.
Really concise look at what's going on with the company and also the gold market. Are there any final thoughts you would add for investors right now?
Yeah, I think there's another piece to this merger, which is the importance of having a team that can get things done. And we put together at Integra this great permitting and development team on our asset. And it's taken us 5 years to do that. There's not a lot of talent out there. And so once you have this great team, they become something that is highly prized. And now having the ability to deploy that team not just on one project, Delamar, but on the Millennial side on their two projects in succession, I think is really key. People really don't understand, I think, what it takes to put together a good team.
I think that's probably true. Well,
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming by to talk about what's going on at Integra, the gold market. Always really good to hear from you.
Always great to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network.